Hello everyone. I hope you all in a good condition. Today we will learn about presentation skills, listening and speaking from TED Talks. It's How Great Leaders Inspire Action by Simon Sinek in 2009. It is for learning objective. After this lesson, students will be able to identify 3 presentation techniques used in TED Talks. And number 2, analyze speaker structure, voice, and engagement. And the last one, to deliver a short mini presentation using the same techniques. Why TED Talks? TED Talks help students learn authentic English, learn real presentation skills, engaging delivery techniques, confident in public speaking, and last one, natural pronunciation and intonation. For presentation techniques, TED speakers commonly use structure, voice control, and engagement. For the structure, it is clear opening, main point, and key message. And for voice control, there are pace, pauses, and volume. And for engagement, eye contact, gestures, and facial expression. Here is for the TED speakers, Simon Sinek, How Great Leaders Inspire Action. Before we watch the video, you can notice how he opens the talk and how he uses his voice and how he connects with the audience. Let's continue.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery, and this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right, because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that, there's if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the .com of the day. Everybody was trying it.
Yeah. It is for the example video how great leaders inspire actions. So you can identify and then notice what he's speaking about. And then yes, we can next to what we learn. Yeah, how he opened the talks, how he used his voice, and how he connects with the audience. Yeah, for watching. After you watching the video, here is the text. Fill in the table during the video. There are technique, structure, voice, and engagement. And for example, notice there are structure, opening line and main line in the video, yes or no. And for the voice, there are pauses and emphasize, yes or no. And for engagement, gesture and eye contact. Do you remember and notice that? So you can fill in the table, yes or no. And the next, discussion questions. Which technique was most effective? How did the speaker keep the audience engaged? And what did you like about the speaker's delivery? Yeah, for number 1, which technique was the most effective? His voice control was the most effective because he used pauses to create, emphasize, and keep the audience focused. And number 2, how did the speaker keep the audience engaged? He used storytelling, rhetorical questions, clear examples, simple diagrams, and strong eye contact to maintain audience interest. And the last one, what did you like about the speaker's delivery? His delivery was calm yet powerful. He didn't rush, his message was easy to follow, and he used real examples to support his points. And here is for mini speaking test. It is your turn to present. Choose one topic, introduce yourself creatively, explain one idea you believe in, and share something meaningful to you, and don't forget to use structure, voice control, and engagement. Yeah, for example, it is example of model presentation. Hello everyone, my name is Rizka. And I believe communication is one of the most powerful tools we have. Growing up, I was very quiet, but watching TED speakers taught me how to express myself clearly. Today, I dream of becoming a presenter who shares ideas that can inspire others. Thank you. This model uses clear opening, main message, confident voice, and engaging tone. You can try by yourself to make a presentation. And it is for educate play quiz. We can start the quizzes. What is my recent athletic learning presentation skill? Which technique? Telling personal story. What makes the TED Talk speaker easy to understand? Clear pronunciation and pacing. Why do TED Talk presenters use visual slide to support ideas? What is an important listening strategy when watching? Key point with behavior, good speaking, making eye contact. What purpose? Emphasize important point. Clear message. What skill does listener practice? Main idea, critical thinking. Here is the quiz. You can try it and what score that you get. TED Talks presentation skills. Yes, that's all for the quiz. We come back to the lessons. Here are a summary of learning. What we learn. We learn how TED speakers structure their message, how voice and pauses create impact, and how body language increase engagement. And the last one, how to apply these techniques in your own speaking. And this is practice more with TED. It is recommended TED Talks. You can watch the video on YouTube, TED Talks. It is, for example, there are 4 example. Number 1, by Julian Tracers, How to Speak So That People Want to Listen. Number 2, Amikadi, Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are. Number 3, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, The Danger of a Single Story. Number 4, Sir Ken Robinson, Do Schools Kill Creativity. So you can watch this for this video so you can increase your skills in presentation skills and then in public speaking skills from TED Talks. I think that's all for our learning today. Thank you for your attention and for your participation. Good evening, everyone.